The heat is on as Saturday Night Thunder returns to a well-known circuit on our regular schedule for its third race of the 2025 Summer Series. Ever the explosive track, we're looking for some exciting racing down south. Welcome back to Bristol. You're watching the Kallhoff-Deitch Racing Summer Series brought to you by SNT. This is the virtual Bristol Motor Speedway, and tonight we're going racing for 150 laps. Race number 3 on the calendar. Last time we went at it, it was fuel strategy until the very end. Henry Kallhoff fighting to get the checkered flag. It was fuel mileage that made the difference for victory in Kansas. Now, after a week off, we've returned once again to another oval, but a very different type. Small, paved, short track racing. That's what it's all about tonight on this 5th of July, and we're glad to have you here. I'll be your host for tonight's broadcast. I'm David Kreutz, commentating and producing. We've got 3 minutes left on the board as drivers are taking time, so we'll take a look downstairs now and see exactly what's going on. Jamie McKinney with the provisional pole position as 9 drivers have taken their laps. Fastest speed set by McKinney so far, 127.915 on his quick time. Hudson Sangster down to pit road, as is Carter Casey. Casey is now getting on the way in number 18. Carter's got 2 minutes and 30 seconds to set this lap. Should be more than enough to put 2 laps in. Casey in the Interstate Batteries, number 18, just off the podium last week as Vinny Tigner, co-owner of the league, was able to make it up into P3 just by avoiding all the wreckage. Casey was right behind him for the most part. See whether or not he ends up behind in the qualifying lineup or ahead today. First lap puts him 10th of 10 drivers with a lap here. Looking to improve big time on this second lap. Looks like he's about 0.7 of a second faster, so a 14.57 puts him firmly in second place, right ahead of Tigner and only behind our pole sitter in Jamie McKinney. Here comes Tyler Sevier on his second lap. First one goes now 11th on the board, and it looks like they're 3 and 4 getting that second chance. 0.2 of a second quicker. Looks like he'll land in the single digits. Just falls short, as a matter of fact. 11th place. Andres Varas on his first lap goes 8th. Varas looking to improve one more time around. Chevrolet SS, starting at the back of the field last week, was able to make it up to the top 5 under green flag running. Not able to improve on that lap. It looks like he'll be sitting 8th place. A minute left on the clock here. Tyler Sevier, 12th. Andres Varas, P8. 50 seconds left on the clock here. We're only waiting on Matthew Fastnot. However, it appears he is not going to take it to the circuit qualifying laps. So 12 drivers have taken a time. And for the first time this season, first time this year, in fact, Jamie McKinney will take it to the pole position. Carter Casey once again on the front row in qualifying, but it looks like only just beaten by some 86/1000ths of a second. 25 seconds left on the clock now, and it's all but official. Qualifying has concluded. 13 drivers registered for today's racing. And with that said, we're expecting a lot of green flag action from beginning to end. Got 2 hours and 5 minutes to complete this 150 miles ahead of us. That'll come out to 150 laps and 75 miles to confirm. Timers run out in qualifying. Jamie McKinney with a first ever pole position in his SNT comp, and he will take it up to the top of the board with a fast lap. It is a 14.483. That is the time to beat tonight, and in qualifying, he is second to none. 5 minutes left for drivers to warm up. Let's get to know the starting grid from beginning to end. Interestingly, for Jamie McKinney, he's a part-time competitor, but he's come out to play once again in the Summer Series. He's got maybe his best ever chance at winning an SNT race tonight, and it's all because of that remarkable qualifying effort, which of course puts him at the top of the board. It'll be Jamie McKinney tonight running in the all-white 0-1. taking it up to the pole with a 14.483 lap time. Then you'll have Carter Casey in second outside of row number 1. His second lap was more than a half second quicker than his first. That's the difference between starting last of the qualifiers and second overall. 14.569. That's all he needed. Carter Casey goes P2. Vinny Tigner then goes third, and Henry Kallhoff goes fourth. Henry going to find himself on the outside, of course, the team leader for Kallhoff-Deitch Racing. Vinny Tigner right behind his league co-owner in the 18. Payson Lindsay concludes the top 5. Connor Asbell goes 7th, and Richard Cherry tonight races in the number 6. 7th place. Andres Varas is 8th. The number 11 is Matthew White today, not Matthew Weeks. Usually in the number 2, it looks like the Matthews have switched over, and today White gets his first chance in the number 11 car. He'll start 9th. Cameron Chandler trying to lead the championship outright. The rookie from last season getting some seat time again. He will start in 10th. Final drivers on the field include Hudson Sangster, who took a 14.882 lap time in the number 42 car after running strong last week. Tyler Sevier, 15.019, the last driver to take a lap overall in the 77. Matthew Fastnaught's number 67 for Kallhoff-Deitch Racing. He'll be the last man on the track tonight. Qualifying, he chose not to take a time, and he will start 13th and last of everyone here from the last great Coliseum. Ready to go racing from Richmond, Jamie McKinney puts down his best ever qualifying performance and a first career pole with a quick time 14.483. That's the money lap and the time to beat from the virtual Bristol Motor Speedway. 2 minutes left on the clock now as drivers continue to warm up, and with good reason, confidence for McKinney. Jamie coming with the Michael Self Venturini Motorsport throwback to the early 2020s, particularly the 2019 and 2020 campaigns for Self and the Sinclair Oil number 01 tonight. So Venturini Motorsport, well known as perhaps the most successful solely ARCA competition team of the past quarter century. We've seen recently Joe Gibbs Racing take over and have a large part of the performance aspect of those Toyotas come into their favor with a championship dominant for Ty Gibbs just a few years ago. Drivers like William Salowich as well. Tonight it's going to be going back to the basics, as to this point Jamie McKinney has been the fastest man in qualifying and second fastest in first practice. In this warm-up session, he is 25 thousandths quicker than the next man in Payson Lindsay, and so the trend has held out so far. Looks like a firm grip, especially on the short run, able to drop those fast laps immediately. See if anyone else has what it takes to come back and swing on the long run. That's what we haven't necessarily tested yet. We have 150 laps at our disposal, so for someone like the 0-1 of McKinney, it's all about maximizing that early strength, because right now it looks really good when tires aren't anything to worry about. What's it going to be when rubber gets burned and time passes? 150 laps and not all too many drivers. We might just see green flag strategy play dominantly. No fuel restrictions on the night. Give way to what could be a one-stop call from beginning to end. Seconds left. Jamie McKinney briefly going to wreck. Matthew Fastnaugh gets on the circuit and puts down a faster time. So just a little bit quicker. 11 seconds left on the clock and counting down, as Fastnaugh now is the fastest man in final practice. That's a 14.554. Just quicker than Jamie McKinney, although it won't be for anything in the qualifying lineup. Matthew Fastnaugh, fastest in final warm-up. And it'll be Jamie McKinney, just 33 thousandths of a second slower, not able to avenge his quick time. Drivers lined up now on that starting grid. 150 Laps on the table for Jamie McKinney. Another new front row to kick off our third race of the summer series, once again brought to you by Saturday Night Thunder and Kallhoff-Deitch Racing. A special thanks to Henry Kallhoff and the KDR crew for helping out in bringing this series and this field to life, as we are only now a few weeks away from bringing the main SNT series back live on FTN Broadcasting to end 2025. Expecting 15 more main series races from here to the end of the year, which will be just about late October, early November on FTN Broadcasting, celebrating another successful year, our third with the SNT crew. It's the time we've raced over the summer, and we'd like to thank again Kallhoff-Deitch Racing for such an opportunity. Henry Kallhoff had, I'll tell you this much, a remarkable race last week. Summer series so far has proven exciting, and we've seen the best of some drivers who haven't yet been able to show that stuff regularly in our previous races. Kallhoff leading 29 laps last week en route to victory. He was able to outlast Cameron Chandler, who led 47, and it was all about the strategy call. Henry Kallhoff was able to get to Cameron Chandler and keep him at bay, even with what appeared to be a tire disadvantage. Henry was absolutely where he needed to be as a driver, not only defense, but just the way he was driving and the mentality where he didn't give up just because his equipment was a little bit older. Might have had the disadvantage in most cases, but in that instance, he came out the winner of the battle. Jamie McKinney is in his very first start of the year, so it's going to be interesting to see how he stacks up. Wasn't with us for Daytona, nor was he with us for Kansas. And all of a sudden, he's rocketed up to the top of the board, and so far, it looks like nobody's been able to get to him. We'll see whether or not that changes today in the race. Qualifying is usually a solid indicator of performance at these SNT events at all the short tracks. 2 laps to green, and we're about to kick things off. Barney the Flagman, our iRacing pace car driver, making the first move. Track conditions for the Bristol Motor Speedway will remain rather predictable all night long, with an ambient temperature of 72 degrees and a track temp of only 75 degrees Fahrenheit. Weather is not static today, however, and will change as the race progresses, with winds northbound anywhere from 1 mile an hour to 3 miles an hour. Currently, relative humidity is the only thing that could give these drivers problems, coming in at 65.7% and ever so slightly increasing. Tires might be a little bit slicker as the night progresses, but it is a cool racing circuit with an ambient temperature just above 70 and a track temp under 80. It's very likely it's going to remain a very quick circuit and one where drivers are very confident with the equipment under them. I don't think they'll be worrying too much about scorching hot tire, although of course fall off is to be expected at the Bristol Motor Speedway, such a fast track with big pace differences from the straightaways to corners. One of the fastest half miles throughout the country, even out of a racing context. But when it comes down to those paved ovals, nothing beats the last great coliseum for its size. Jamie McKinney rockets to the head of the board and is ready to get to work. For the first time in his SNT career, he finds himself a pole sitter, and right beside him is Carter Casey, well known for his front row qualifying success. Welcome to the last great coliseum. We're underway in the SNT Summer Series for the third time in this summer break. We're green, this time for Bristol. Jamie McKinney, with that red-hot start that we anticipated, gets it over Vinny Signer, and the number 72 of Connor Asbell right up high. And so it begins. Expect to see a quick one, a quick race overall. Last night, when we went racing, which was 2 Saturdays ago, it was a big win for Henry Kallhoff, and he did with only 1 caution. Not a lot of interruptions racing-wise, not a lot of opportunities for breaks in the strategy call. As a matter of fact, we only had one for what was a single-car spin. So, expecting to see with the field size that we have tonight, pretty calm, collected racing, but with the field strength, don't expect it to be a walk-away victory for Jamie McKinney just because he's gotten out up front early. Usually things change as the night progresses. Payson Lindsay gets to the inside of Andres Varas. That is for 7th place. Can't complete the pass, but he's already looking to make that move. So we'll see whether or not he's successful with that as the night progresses. Already the pressure being put on. For Payson, getting back into the swing of things, missing our opening races. And so, even though this is not his first ever SNT race, it is his first in Summer Series comp. Andres Varas was very impressive last week. Was able to make the most of starting from the back of the field, giving the mid-pack a real solid fight. Cameron Chandler up top. Championship standings will show right now that Cameron is the championship leader, but only just. It's a 2-point differential between he and Henry Kallhoff. Chandler, the man who finished top 3 in the championship standings as a rookie in the SNT main series, and did so with some of the most impressive statistics we have seen in any individual season, has come back so far, and he's given about the same level of effort and the same level of success in these early runs here in the Summer Tour. Now, Kansas got away from him, but he led the most laps in 47, of which just about half the race, and I think that's indicative of what he's going to do for the rest of this series as he now looks to make a move on Cameron Chandler and maybe get himself up to 4th. Cameron opts high. Blocking the apex down low was Connor Asbell's call, but he'll be able to do it no longer. Cameron Chandler sinks to the inside groove, and as he gets out, he's going to be compromised off exit. It's a better run on the top of the corner for the Chevrolet SS, that number 72. Red and black with Shields sponsorship for the first time. Asbell bringing this look to the racing circuit, and that's the interesting thing about taking these Gen 6 stock cars in this current capacity. The Arca Menards package updated just about a year ago to reflect the current composite bodies in use in that series after a decade-long transition from Gen 4 stock cars to these Gen 6 replicas. They're not exactly the ones you used to see in the NASCAR Cup Series, but instead are meant to look very similar. In truth, they're a lot more like the Car of Tomorrow package when it comes to the chassis and the main frame within, but visually, they look like the early Gen 6 machines. Inside, here comes Vinny Tigner. Tigner working at the front half of a 2x2 battle, double fold. That's 4 drivers going at it side by side. Battle for the lead has not yet come to fruition. Wait and see if the long run gets to McKinney. To the inside again goes Payson Lindsay, as does Vinny Tigner. Connor Asbell right up high, and the 84 of Andres Varas stays on that second groove. Emphasis on the front of the back end guys as well. Cameron Chandler could be swept into it, and Richard Cherry here, who's just behind, could very easily get an opportunity and make his way in. Richard in 9th place as it stands. Qualified in 7th, that's the highest he's been today, so he's dropped 2 spots to this point. But if anything is to occur ahead of him, he can very easily get it all back. 21 laps in out of 150. Connor Asbell here, watching, waiting for the opportunity to break free. Vinny Tigner giving him a lot of pressure on the lower groove, though. Even if Connor is slightly quicker off exit, he does not have the opportunity to dive into the corner, and so he's pretty stiff until he gets out of there. Cameron Chandler just getting more room to run away each and every time by. As such, Asbell touches the wall. It doesn't stop him, but he's going to take that clip real hard. Side by side, Vinny Tigner, Connor Asbell. Now they've gone at it for 5 consecutive laps. Andres Varas has gotten ahead of Payson Lindsay, and as has Richard Cherry. That brings Cherry back into 8th place. Right now looks like a times are slowing down just a little bit. About a half a second of fall off relative to every driver's best lap. Jamie McKinney that time by was the only driver who ran a lap quicker than 15 seconds. Now it looks like Connor Asbell is a half second slower than his best lap on the track. That time by, Henry Kallhoff, more of the same. Kallhoff is working at it for second, still hasn't gotten there. All eyes on the mid-pack. Toe-to-toe. Tigner lifts it a little bit higher. Asbell again brushes the wall and he gets intimidated out of line. Here comes Vinny Tigner. And Vinny makes his way in. 5th place, the number 12 Ford Mustang. Oh, loose! It's Richard Cherry in the back of the field. And we're going to have ourselves the first caution of the day. Multi-car incident. Fast Knot and the 42 of Sangster. Caution is out. Loose out of 4, yellow flies. Contact from Payson Lindsay, overcorrects it, comes up the track, comes down, hits the number 88, then Fast Knot and Gorell get a piece. Hudson Sangster rather gets the big piece there. Harsh hit. Matthew Fast Knot put into the air. 29 laps in out of 150 is your first caution of the night. And just about everyone goes in. Carter Casey, Henry Kallhoff, and Vinny Tigner are the lone holdouts here. Interesting decision. We'll see if that plays out well. But Jamie McKinney, after leading that opening stretch consecutively, decide to take newer tire here. I think he's betting on this being one of very few cautions. Matter of fact, it could be the one and only. So, it'll be McKinney out, then D. Chandler is just ahead of him now. Connor Asbell, Payson Lindsay, Matthew White, and Tyler Sevier make up the top 10. Only 2 extra tire sets provided for drivers today. Going to make it pretty interesting because that means the 0-1 just used one of his extra sets. That means a few drivers up here still have 2. 4 holdouts. Jamie McKinney, now the first of those on new tire. Pretty early call to head in for a few of those guys, maybe a little bit earlier than we expected. And with the restriction on tire we've got tonight, I think it makes it more exciting. Higher stakes to it. If there were multiple extra tire sets, 3 extra tire sets, shall we say, using one wouldn't mean. So I wonder, what's it going to take now? 3 up in front, and of course, now a 4th in Andres Varas. Podium fighters and Varas making his way. What's it going to take to send them down and in? Two by 2, Interstate Batteries. Carter Casey leading. Second place to begin this one. 30 laps later, he's got himself the pole position for this first restart. Last week, only one caution made all the difference. Let's see what happens now. Henry Kallhoff, your defending winner on the outside. Green flags out. Looks like not the best of restarts for Jamie McKinney, and we are back on the way. Connor Asbell holds it up high. Number 63 of Henry Kallhoff now has the lead for the second consecutive week. Andres Varas takes second in a weak start for Carter Casey that drops him back almost outside of the top 5. Jamie McKinney already looking up to take 4th, and he finds himself quickly behind the podium battle. To the inside, here comes McKinney. As they go through turns 1 and 2, it's now going to be a side-by-side fight for 3rd place. So quickly you see those new tires taking off now for the McKinney car. Andres Varas got up to second quickly with some restart finesse, but I don't believe it's going to be enough now. You can't defend. You just got to have yourself a clean line to get out of the way. 30 laps of tire difference is a half second of a lap each time by. Jamie McKinney knows this, and it's playing really well to his advantage here. Watch out, the number 63 of Kallhoff to the bumper. That's contact, and for the first time tonight, you got to fight for the lead, but it's 3 wide for second. Up high goes Varas, down low. Connor Asbell maintains, but Jamie McKinney shoots up to the high side and surges out in front. Doesn't matter what groove he's using, but I'll tell you this much. What a fighter, Jamie McKinney. How about that? Side by side, multiple lanes deep. Inside, outside, even to the back end of the top 10 now. You'll see Payson Lindsay bumping Vinny Tigner. Richard Cherry now going to be back there in 9th place, watching multiple lanes go at it side by side. Rolling deep, Lindsay low, tries to get it to the inside of Tigner, barely has room. Contact Carter Casey. Hudson Sangster goes around, spinning, and the caution is out on the field. Yellow flag, second time tonight. This one a little bit bigger. Take a look at this. Three wide goes wrong. Fast not involved again. Sangster. Just like that. Everyone going around. .43 laps in out of 150. Second caution of the day. Jamie McKinney, Connor Asbell, Payson Lindsay of those who hold out. Andres Varas to pit road and now on his way. About a third of the way through. Kallhoff making his way out, as is Carter Casey, Vinny Tigner, Richard Cherry, Tyler Sevier. About 2 laps out for making it happen again. Second restart. Hopefully from here we stay clean, but the racing has gotten increasingly contentious. Field will return to action for lap number 47 here. Jamie McKinney, who has led the most laps on the night, 35 of 46, is once again in front. Potential is still for him to lead upwards of 110 laps on the day here. Of course, that depends on how well he does from this point. 16 laps on his tire, so it's 14 laps older than the guys who just went in. Similar deficit, actually just about half the deficit of the difference. Here we go again with McKinney in control. Green flags out for our second restart. 2 by 2, multiple lanes deep. McKinney shoots out well. Now to see if the new tires have the same effect for Varas and company. Connor Asbell holding McKinney honest on the outside groove, and for the first time, it looks like he's no longer invincible. McKinney didn't get that immediate surge that he did on the initial race start. See if Asbell can hold it out any longer. Connor's looked good on the outside so far tonight, something most drivers can't say with confidence. He's had his experience, rubbing off the wall a time or two, but even when it's happened, it hasn't necessarily slowed him down. You saw there a little bit of scraping on the right side. Varas into Payson Lindsay. Lindsay saves it, only to spin around. It'll be your third caution of the day. And Payson Lindsay luckily collects nobody else. It's minor rubbing. Quarter panel contact makes all the difference. And the caution flies again. Rubbed, shot high, and right down the middle. Luckily spared by the field. Payson Lindsay, tapped out of line, is going to be the back end of the pack now. Payson on some of the oldest tires of everyone in the field, so now he can catch up and get himself on cycle, go down to pit road. McKinney and Asbell have no reason to do so, but Andres Varas was knocking on their door and knocked a little bit too hard on the driver just behind them. Less than 100 laps remain now as we approach the halfway point of today's event. Jamie McKinney still finding himself ahead, as he's now due to lead his 40th lap on the day. Connor Asbell got real close to taking him down the scoring loop. I mean, it's the matter of about a half a car length, if that. Jamie McKinney coming fourth again. This will be the second time he leads a restart. Went down to pit road first time around. So far, his strategy call has worked out. Carter Casey looking to rebound after what was a little bit of a weak restart beforehand, dropping outside of the podium. Fourth place right now. Not a horrible place to be without, of course, a shadow of a doubt. But I think the expectation with that front row qualifying appearance that he can do a little bit better and maintain in the top three. Field is bunched up again for restart number 3. Lap number 56, the opportunity for Jamie McKinney to hold off the field on old rubber. It'll be McKinney, Asbell, Varas, Carter Casey. 1, 2, 3, 4 down the line. Fifth is Tigner. Let's see what happens next as they grab a gear and punch it again. It's Jamie McKinney, this time with the rocket launch he anticipated. Connor Asbell cannot hold a candle. .58 laps in, Jamie McKinney gets the burst. Then you'll see Andres Varas now having to dive through, as while he's got new rubber, he's got new competition. Here comes Carter Casey, and he'll get himself up to the new lead of that very, very infant stage of the new tire brigade. Only 15 laps, but there have been multiple cautions, which means that so far we haven't yet seen these guys go at it with long green flag run in mind. Oh, bobble for the number 72. Connor Asbell got right up in the wall, bunched it up. That time, I think it's going to hurt. These composite bodies can take a beating, but when you end up there high too many times, it will cost you. And I think it just did right there. Carter Casey able to get back to the inside, door to door once more. Henry Kallhoff still watching. Asbell's defense has been remarkable. to the inner groove, Vinny Tigner on the 72 of Asbel. For second place, Connor no longer using the outside fully, but as he swaps back up there, I think that's his only hope. He's been so strong on that middle and outer lane, nobody else has been able to test him there. Watch again, Connor just gets into that seam and he rips it up high. The typical dominant groove is the apex down on the bottom. However, Bristol does give way to multi-groove racing if you warm yourself up for it. While he might not be as fast as leading McKinney, Connor Asbel is the ace of the second lane so far and holds a slight edge over Vinny Tigner lap over lap. Coming across the line again, though, that won't be the case. Vinny got a nicer jump out of 3 and 4, but it's cyclical, back and forth. Andres Varas now could make his choice of who he's going to support and which line, or choose not to support either. He has to defend on 2 drivers behind him. Watch out now. Still coming through is the 84 of Andres. Richard Cherry tries to get there on Carter Casey. Casey now blocked by the 84. Slugging at it time after time here. We're getting closer to the halfway point. If there's a caution from this point onward, very likely for some drivers that will be their final pit stop of the day. Everyone in the field has used at least one extra stop. They are down to their final set of tire on pit road. So better be real careful with how long you choose to wait on it. Jamie McKinney, on the oldest run in the racing circuit, is still the fastest driver. Tires mean next to nothing for him. He is just that good. Coming to lap number 75. Green flag pit stops as we've gotten some updates now from teams not anticipated at the pace that we're going at here. Kallhoff-Deitch Racing sending a multi-car operation out of the racetrack, and one of their guys is on pit road right now. That's Matthew Fastnod in the number 67 on timing and scoring. He's in the number 1 TRD Camry tonight. It looks like another stop for Fastnod, who's been involved in multiple incidents today. Damage has been the prevailing issue, of course. He's been caught up in cautions and spun around. He's 3 laps down as is, and he's not a retiree, but he's far back on everyone else, including leader McKinney, who will put him 1 down again. Here we go as the Sinclair 01 hits lap 75. Henry Kallhoff way back now for 6th. All the while, Connor Asbel on the older rubber has fallen off and met a match in Payson Lindsay. Jamie McKinney is the outlier. Everyone else on old tire running in the back half of the top 10 in 7th, 8th, 9th, respectively. Matthew Fastnod on pit road, who is now 6 laps down, is in 12th. So it looks like it's about a 0.7 of a second loss in pace so far for Connor Asbel. Jamie McKinney is the second fastest driver on the track that time by with a 15.044. Tigner's a little bit faster, but he isn't as quick as he would need to be to really chomp into that advantage. He will need some more mistakes from McKinney for that to be the case. 73 laps to go this time by. Let's take a look on board now with Vinny Tigner and take a lap with driver telemetry. Take a look at the gears if they're shifted. Take a look at where the throttle's applied and when the brakes are hit. Big difference in speed from the turns to the straights. Let's take a listen for a lap here. The gap is under a second and now is dropping rapidly. Last 4 laps will indicate to you that Vinny Tigner has been able to put something together. Or maybe it's been the opposite for the Jamie McKinney car. The gap again in tires for these drivers is 14 laps. That might not mean all too much in the first laps of a green flag run. When you get settled in like this, lap after lap, that is a more obvious disparity as the race progresses. Take a look. It's been about 0.2 of a second chopped off in the last 4 laps. About a quarter of a second now. The gap is under a half. That's 0.4 the difference. Sinclair car, 67 laps to go. He has led the majority of this race, all but about 15 laps. And for the first time from the lead, it looks like it's about to be contested. Benny Tigner is looking for his first Summer Series win. "65 laps to go. Andres Varas going to be P3, Carter Casey 4th, Richard Cherry concluding the top 5, but he would like to get himself off that back end, and he'll try to make the move down low on the Interstate Batteries 18. Toe-to-toe, the 29 and the 18 for the first time here. 0.3 the difference between McKinney and Tigner. We'll keep our eyes peeled on that interval, as it looks like Cherry is really working over that number 18 of Carter Casey. Watch out to the inside. Looks like Cherry's got it. First time he's been clear for 4th all night long. Great run for Richard Cherry as he's up and up again, gaining 3 spots on where he qualified, which again was 7th place. Tigner is there. Jamie McKinney better watch out or he better defend. It could go either way. So far, Jamie's been able to block the primary apex. Vinny Tigner has not been too good in the multi-groove scenario, which means that right now anyway, he's still watching. Hasn't yet been able to make that perfect move and find the opportunity to get by on McKinney. While, of course, Jamie has been close to losing it, looks like so far, the passing aspect for Tigner has come a lot harder than catching up. Lapper, Connor Asbell is going to send them down to the inside of the track together, compromising both of their grooves. But I think it's going to be a little bit worse now for McKinney as he has to put the strength in to pass right along that number 77 of Tyler Sevier. Asbell gets in the wall briefly, but that'll be far behind the leaders. 56 laps to go. The next batch they're going to come up to, Hudson Sangster and Cameron Chandler. 7th place is Chandler now, only to be passed again, so you're going to see only about 6 guys on the lead lap coming up on this fight. And they're taking multiple grooves here. Down low. To the bottom. Here comes Jamie McKinney. Tigner stays in line and watches. Not much else he can do now. Can't go up high and can't really fall a lot lower. Cameron Chandler side by side now with Jamie McKinney. Cameron to the wall, but no contact between leaders and lappers. .53 laps to go and counting down. 5 drivers left on the lead lap to this point. Last of which is now going to be Henry Kallhoff. 7.5 seconds remain between he and McKinney, so that's about a half lap. 51 laps to go. Tigner maybe burnt up his best shot. Over the last few laps again, that gap has expanded, and McKinney was able to work so eloquently through those lap cars without any problems. I think now he's got at least a few more laps in him. We'll see if Vinny can reel it back in, but he was about 0.4 a lap away the lap prior. Now he's cut it in half once more. 50 laps remaining. For McKinney, nowhere to run or hide any longer. He's on a 72-lap stint, and if he wants to go the rest of this race, he's going to have to go for a good 120. See whether or not he can do anything more. Tigner is close. Still, no trouble yet for the driver, the 12, in Vinny Tigner, keeping that gap close. Lappers might have shown him falling back, but it looks like the pace has not yet been lost. I do think he had a much better opportunity getting through the lappers beforehand, and if he did so, he would have had a much bigger gap of the race lead. Probably in the realm of several tenths of a second. Vinny looks high, still can't get a pass here. McKinney's got to watch out, it's bumper to bumper. But still, Vinny opts to go up top, is not forcing the issue and pushing for an error just yet. Taking a look aboard again. Look at how close that 0-1 is of Jamie McKinney. Not close enough to slide it down to the inside. But even still, this could be the shot. Tigner instead goes high. Gonna try to go for a wide apex and pull it back together. Now for the crossover. Tigner low, Jamie McKinney up top. The first time all night long, McKinney's reign of dominance has been directly challenged. That first attempt does not work. But it's pretty clear regardless, 0-1 has set that message. McKinney with 42 to go now. And it's a long road away. It might only be 21 miles, but when you consider the facts here, these laps, they might be quick, but there's a whole lot of them, and a lot of corners at high speeds. The banking, the opportunities for passing are everywhere. Tigner's now taken one real attempt, getting it to the inside. They're coming up on lappers sooner than he can do anything else. Henry Kallhoff now on the same straightaway as these leaders. We might only see 4 on the lead lap. Up high, Jamie McKinney sees the split 3 wide, and through Connor Asbell, there's problems for both your leaders. Vinny Tigner might have been able to get away perfect had he not slid down to the apron. And unbelievably, Jamie McKinney still has the advantage. Whether Tigner in good faith backed off, which I don't think was the case, I just don't think he had it there. He stumbled big down to the bottom in what would have been the best opportunity to take the lead. Tyler Sevier put 2 laps down now by leader McKinney. Henry Kallhoff, 5th, is set to go 1 lap down as well. And so he does. The 63 has the right now to fight for that opportunity to remain on lead lap, but it will not be very easy. Quick move to Tigner. And both the top 2 drivers got away. .35 laps to go. And it's still Jamie McKinney's race. 86 laps, now 87 on this run of old rubber. And to think that there's a chance he makes it all the way is unbelievable. So far, Jamie has led 104 of 117 run laps, only losing out on some 12 to this point. Vinny Tigner, 10th and a half back, right behind. With 32 laps to go, he is still waiting for that shot. Gotta wonder now, he's been chasing for the better part of 25, 30 laps, and it's due to become 40 plus. Has the opportunity expired? Lappers are still far and out of the way. There's Hudson Sangster, Henry Kallhoff, all having just been passed. I don't think you're going to see those leaders catching up in them anytime soon. It might take upwards of 20 laps to get back in that spot. 30 to go now. Defense for Jamie McKinney has been real strong. Last time by, Vinny Tigner was only 0.02 of a second faster. And as a matter of fact, in that most recent run-through, he was 0.06 slower. Starting to see signs of falter for Vinny. He might have just burnt out here. It looked like a loss of pace after the first wave of lappers, but you're starting to see on 93-lap-old tires, Jamie McKinney is now making ground. Unbelievable. What a run for McKinney, a driver we've seen before, but haven't seen this sort of expertise or expert-level driving out of to this point. A bit of contact further behind. Those were the lappers. Henry Kallhoff got away from it. Payson Lindsay, Richard Sherry. Those guys, not quite. They're real tight to each other. Contentious. Contact. Connor Asbell with Payson Lindsay again. To the inside, Henry Kallhoff goes after 79 laps. With 25 laps to go, that's a bad sign for everyone if he comes in. Who else is going to do it? He still could be on the verge of at least a few more drivers coming down to pit road. And that's a big signal that what we're looking at right now is an unfinished picture. And there's a lot ahead of us to figure out. 24 laps remaining. Coming to 23 next time by. Hudson Sangster, lapper, is now quicker, so we'll see as it goes in reverse order now. You might see those lap guys getting ahead of the leading battle rather than previously where it was the other way around. 22 laps to go this time by. I'd like to thank our friends at Whiplash SimCams for bringing their camera angles to you. The best iRacing cameras on the market now for every track and every car with constant updates month after month. Thank you to Pitstop TV and Andrew from Pitstop TV for welcoming us to the Whiplash SimCams family. With less than 25 laps to go, let's crank it up for the last great Coliseum. 3 wide, Varas put away, Vinny Tigner surges high, takes the race lead. This fight is not over. Jamie McKinney now on offense. McKinney falters. And now it's Vinny Tigner in control. Take a look as we get live and loud amid the final 19 laps of this race. It's electric in Bristol, and we've got ourselves a new race leader. Check this out. Vinny Tigner, catching the stream of the quicker lapped drivers, was able to pull through just a few laps to go, and now with only 8 remaining, it looks like Vinny will be able to take victory from the hands of the dominant Jamie McKinney and pull home for his very first Summer Series win. And what a way to do it, first and foremost, for this number 12 team, fighting and clawing up to this point. A podium last week, and while not the fastest driver, he had the textbook advantage of better rubber against his main racing rival. The only thing is that Jamie McKinney, through the first 130 laps, looked to be indomitable. But now, at lap 146 and with 5 laps remaining, Vinny Tigner has broken out. The textbook advantages matter, but sometimes you see defense as the sole proprietor of victory or defeat. We saw that last week in Kansas, where Henry Kallhoff was able to make his way out with victory, even though it did not look like he had the best opportunity to do so because he out oiled or tire. It almost looked like we were going to go the same way again today. However, it looks like that did not play out. Tigner now shows that the typical can happen in SNT, and he is looking to get the job done and finish it off this time by. 3 laps to go. McKinney is still in second. However, Richard Cherry is closing in slowly but surely. Only the podium remain on the lead lap now. Everyone else is 2 laps down at minimum. So Cherry really playing the strategy game well. He's put himself in a spot where a top 3 is effectively guaranteed. Nevertheless, for Vinny Tigner, tonight was no guarantee until the final 25 laps. Jamie McKinney's old tires finally gave way, and he could defend no more. Tigner, a veteran, a series champion, and now setting his sights to be the 3rd driver to win in the Saturday Night Thunder Summer Series. Checkered flag falls, and he didn't have to dominate tonight to prove he won it. Vinny Tigner outlasts the field and wins off a 106-lap stint of old rubber from the last great Coliseum. It's his first Summer Series victory, and Tigner is back in victory lane on Saturday night. 1 spot better would have been a podium for him last week to this. He went 2 spots higher and is back on top. 21 laps led, all in consecutive order, all at the end of this race. Vinny is a winner once more. Up and down the track, Vinny Tigner with every reason to celebrate after that dominant performance in the final laps. He didn't dominate the race, but he was right on the back bumper of your man with the most laps led, Jamie McKinney. And that's your first and second lineup with, of course, Tigner and McKinney, positions 1 and 2. Then from there, you'll have 3rd place in Richard Cherry coming away with a career best finish in SNT competition. Payson Lindsay goes 4th with Carter Casey 5th. Henry Kallhoff 6th, and 7th being Hudson Sangster. Cameron Chandler is 8th. Connor Asbell 9th, and Tyler Sevier P10 on the day. Final drivers going as follows, and those will be 11th place in Andres Varas, Matthew Fastnaud in 12th, and Matthew White 13th and last. While we didn't have all too many drivers make it out to the field today, it was a thrill watching the battle for the race lead until it came to pass. And this time around, a veteran gets the better of the up-and-coming. That is Vinny Tigner. And even though it was not easy, he had to fight and claw for it. He will get it done at the end of the night. We're going to hear from him first and hopefully get a word from the remainder top 3 finishers, but of course, we got to start with your winning man in the number 12. Vinny, the battle for the race lead was upwards of 80 laps. You only led the final 21, but in any moment, it could have gone your way. You fought for it as hard as you could, and the checkered flag is yours. First in the Summer Series for you, Vinny. Welcome back to the podium.
Thank you. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun racing with Jamie and several other guys out there too. Yeah, that was interesting. It was a little tight, but yeah, I managed to make it work and just kind of saving tires just because we had 2 sets of tires tonight. So I knew that was gonna kind of go in my favor a little bit just because I'm fairly decent at saving tires. So I was just running behind Jamie. Once I caught him at a quick pace, it was just a matter of like trying to strategize my move a little bit. And I didn't want to get caught side by side with him and then burn my right front and allow other guys to catch us. So yeah, that worked out. That was an amazing race.
And a great race with that final run in mind. We had 3 cautions to begin it, and then from there, more than 100 laps on our last run, which was a challenge for certain for every driver involved. You and Jamie McKinney blew away from the rest of the field, and it was tense until the final moment. So how was it for you eventually making the difference and taking race lead?
Jamie was, he was dominant. I knew he was going to be the guy to beat, and I didn't know where I was going to shake out, but yeah, like I said, when I got to second and got to him, I knew it was just a matter of his, between him and I for the win. And I'm glad we did it cleanly. And when we caught the lappers, I was just trying to plan that out where, kind of use them as a pick. And I saw his weaknesses off the exit, so I kind of just planned everything out. I got a little aggressive there when we went 3 wide, I think. Kind of happened so fast. I have to look at the replay, but I think I scooted somebody out of the way just because they're, taking my lane a little bit. So I managed to get the lead from there. So yeah, that was a great race, and yeah, it was a good race with Jamie.
Putting the 12 team at the top of the board, some much needed points. The last 2 weeks, though, have gone really well for this group. And of course, that's going to send you further up the championship. Next up on the schedule, it's going to be Watkins Glen for 50 laps. So the exact opposite style of racing. A long track, not an oval either. But it looks like you pull out very first strong performance today. Who's to say you can't do it again with another type of track next?
Well, that saying with the highs and lows in racing, tonight's a high, but next week will be a low for me. I'm just not good at road racing. So, yeah, I'll enjoy this one because I know I'll be running the back next week.
Vinny Tigner, in our most intense Summer Series battle for the win, comes out victorious, collects the checkered flag. Any final comments you'd like to leave out here for the fans? We'd love to hear it.
Yeah, well, obviously, I'll start with you. Thank you for calling our races, and want to thank Henry for putting on this Summer Series with S&T, and thanks to the guys that showed up tonight, and hopefully those who tuned in enjoyed that.
Vinny Tigner, victory lane once again, and a former series champ and league owner comes out on top in our summer vacation. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Vinny on the move. Tonight, unfortunately, a different story for Jamie McKinney, and perhaps the biggest story to tell for him was his outright dominance. He led 117 laps on the day, but he could have gone for north of 130, just tires making the difference late. A 120-lap run, and the final 20 laps, the difference between victory and defeat, Jamie. You held on long, but it looks like just beat at the end.
Oh, yeah, we just worked on the car in practice, and we just got it to work. And we had a few lucky cautions early in the race, so I just stayed out with my teammates because I thought it was going to be caution after caution, but then we went green for the rest of the way. And I put up a great battle with Vinny. I tried to hold him off, but I didn't want to make contact at all. That's not how I race, really. But yeah, he put up a really good fight, and then he eventually got by me.
Now today, even though there were a few cautions involved, the strategy game was as intense as ever. Of course, you and Vinny making similar calls, but you were the only driver to hang out on a 120 lap run. You went down to pit road that first time, didn't go back till that point. How did you make the tire saving work so long? Because for almost the entirety of that race, you were at the worst the third quickest driver on track with the old rubber.
Oh yeah, I just worked with the brake and the gas pedal in the middle of the corners, tried to just hold it really close to the yellow line on the bottom, and I just tried to go half throttle and exit so I wouldn't hit the wall. And these cars are really tight off the corner, so you got to be careful to not hit the wall.
And it looks like with that careful discipline, inside and out of every lap, you kept yourself up here for a podium, even if the wind just slipped away. Still a top two. What a way to break into this summer series. Next week is Watkins Glen, very different type of track, but you came on very successfully. Why not go back for more? You think you'll see a little bit more track time from here?
Yeah, of course, I'll run the Watkins Glen race because I really love road courses, so we'll see what we can do there.
First race of the summer series, and with it comes a podium and pole position. Jamie McKinney, welcome back to SNT. If you've got anything else you'd like to add, the floor is yours.
I'd like to thank my teammates at TCMC. They have done a lot here with the drivers they've added to the team. I just got added back after a few months, and I really appreciate the team. Great drivers, great owners as well. They're great people to hang out with. And that's all I have to say.
Jamie McKinney, 117 laps led on a 120-lap-old run from lap 30 to the very finish. Thank you, Jamie, for your time.
Yep, thank you.
And with another career best finish in Richard Cherry. While he was not able to lead a lap tonight, Richard was able to go from 7th place up to 3rd and was the final driver to maintain on the lead lap. The rest of the field fell far behind Richard, but it looks like you were able to pull out some long-run strength and get there to the finish in one piece.
I got two desperate there. I mean, I was trying to be on the bottom, but I saw those two people, Jamie and Beanie, just fighting for the lead, and I just felt like I had to go fast just to get close to them and have a chance. But, still P3. I mean, it was a chaotic race. With all the lap down cars, in my case, I had like 2 wrecks. I'm lucky I had the fast repair, so otherwise my race would have been over. But good result, and let's see for the Glen.
And you're right about that. When we're looking back on this replay now, so many lap drivers around you the whole time while you were trying to keep up there with Vinny Tigner. How was it for you working with the lap guys for so long? Some of them were on the same lap as you for the early parts, but almost everyone back down to pit road, and you decided to stay out.
I mean, I'm going to give a shout out to the lap cars in my case because they didn't put much difficulty on me. I mean, they just let me by easier because, I mean, I guess they have a point now on defending 3rd place as they would have had defending 2nd place and the leader. But, and I also had teammates there as the lap car. So, it was a lot easier. They could tell me where I could tell them where I was going. And, they went the opposite side. So, And by the way, I would like to give shout outs in Spanish if you don't mind.
Not a problem at all.
Quiero saludar al grupo, voy a ver el nombre, Los Reales, con la foto de perfil esa que Florencia puso ayer, no sé por qué, pero bueno, sí que sé por qué, que se me entienda. Un saludo para todos los integrantes del grupo, se os quiere, y también un saludo a la CFI que la tengo en el coche y feliz por haber sacado un buen resultado por vosotros.
I'll tell you this much, Richard Cherry, we're coming on to the Watkins Glen race next week. If you have anything else for us, I know you just gave your shout-outs right now, but any final thoughts? We'd love to hear it before we head down to New York.
I mean, Watkins Glen is a really good track for me. I mean, I literally ran a lot of laps this week, last weekend for the 6 hours, but I didn't have the much luck, or even I had a skill issue in the first race I did. So, it's a pretty good track, and let's see what we can do for it.
With Watkins Glen up next, Richard Cherry with a career best finish from the Bristol Motor Speedway, from as low as 13th and last to finishing in 3rd. Thank you for your time, Richard.
Thank you.
With the number 6 team on the way, Richard Sherry and Jamie McKinney both able to achieve the same thing in different spots. Third place is a career best finish for Richard, and a 0-1 second place is a career best finish as well. But Vinny Tigner is no stranger to victory lane and finds himself back on top after a long while waiting. 106-lap run on tire, that's what got him to the checkered flag on top. 2 more races in the SNT Summer Series are coming next in month of July. And first and foremost, as we mentioned, it'll be Watkins Glen International, the 2.45 mile circuit from Schuyler County, New York. Always a favorite on the channel and a favorite for the drivers. It's a road course which is easy to learn, very difficult to master. But until that point, you've been watching coverage today from the virtual Bristol Motor Speedway in Bristol, Tennessee. Thank you for tuning in to Saturday Night Thunder's Summer Series, brought to you by Kallhoff-Deitch Racing. I've been your host, David Kreutz, commentating and producing. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like on the stream and subscribe to the channel. Your support is always sincerely appreciated, and we hope to have you back next week. Our next broadcast is Tuesday night with the Integrity Racing League All-Star Race, and we would love to have you there. Thank you for tuning in. We hope you have a fantastic night. Congratulations to Vinny Tigner on his victory from Bristol. Hope you have a great week. Thank you for tuning in to Saturday Night Thunder on FTN Broadcasting.
Isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Boundless makes its presence felt. It will not be ignored. We're helping turn ideas into reality with a wealth of building products that take every architectural style to the next level. This is what it's like to imagine, build, and transform anything we want into exactly what we seek. This is what it means to be boundless.
This message is brought to you by the rebrand of Throttle Graphics and Designs. This publication may not be reposted without the authorized written consent of Throttle Graphics and Designs. NASCAR Camping World Ford F-150. NASCAR Xfinity Ford Mustang. NASCAR Cup Series Next-Gen Ford Mustang. Arca Menards. This has been the publication of the redesign and rebranding of Throttle Graphics and Designs. This message may not be reposted, republicated, or rebroadcasted without the authorized written consent of Throttle Graphics and Designs. Thank you, and thanks for your time.